How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the first official installment of the New Account Festival Playlist series. Today we're going to be looking at how it is to do the festival playlist with a new account, not having very many cars, just using what we have and not purchasing any cars. This is our festival playlist. As you can see, we've done officially nothing. Gonna go ahead and buy these. It's always worth it just to buy these, just because they're not always in there, and sometimes you'll be happy you bought it at a later date. I am not gonna be buying these cars though. And here's our entire playlist. All we've done is the monthly rivals. And to start out, we're actually going to be doing the Eliminator to get the Jaguar I-Pace, which is the Forzathon car this week. And this is actually the first time I've ever done Eliminator on video, so I always like starting here, so it's a good starting spot. And you'll see when I pause, I'm looking at the ring, because the finish line isn't necessarily always going to be in the middle, but it will be toward the middle. And that is going to always be true unless you're toward the very final stage. The last couple of rings, it's not always true. I really need to change my horn. But every single time you see me pause and look at the map, that's me figuring out where the finish line's probably going to be. That way I have a general idea. And whenever I challenge somebody, I immediately start going for where I think the finish line will be. I look at it a lot. And the map is how I determine, at least, where I need to be heading. I always try to stay around the edge of the circle and orientate myself toward the middle. Because if you start toward the edge and start driving toward the middle, if you challenge somebody, generally they're going to be driving the wrong direction, and that gives you an advantage. Since you're driving the right direction, they're driving the wrong direction. I really didn't want that GTR. Not even almost. And this is one of those times when going toward the center did not work. Not only was the finish line not toward the center, I hit a tree and I hit some random BMW X5M. No idea why he was there. But we finished 30th or better, which was the goal. The next thing we're going to be doing here, since we now have the Jaguar I-Pace, we're going to be tuning the Jaguar I-Pace. And I just realized I didn't finish tuning this. Wow. So I will finish tuning this and reshare it. And the share code that is in the description is going to be the new share code, not the one that I shared on here. That's hilarious. Spent so much time fiddling with the gearing, I forgot to finish tuning it. All right, now I do recommend doing this first, just because we just got the treasure clue. And I had already done this on my main account, so I knew exactly where it was. I tested this first thing just so I could update all of y'all with the comment section of the treasure chest video. And I did not want to blueprint it, just because I haven't really blueprinted anything yet. And you notice there was a 2018 Jaguar I-Pace in that photo, but it wasn't mine. You have to take a picture of your own car in the correct place whenever you do the photo challenges, and it wasn't always like that. It used to be, because back when you had to take a picture of the Peel Trident or the Peel P50, one of the two, I remember somebody was hanging out at the photo challenge spot so people could take a picture of his vehicle, and it worked. At some point in the last couple of months, they've updated it to where you actually have to be in the vehicle yourself. And it's crazy, I didn't notice that it wasn't fully tuned. Huh. Because I did not tweak it after I shared it. Alrighty, so that is our 100,000 score, and that is our weekly Forzathon. The first one we officially did, because last week's was bugged. Now we're going to go ahead and do the speed trap, and out of all the cars I wanted to use for it, this is the one I had, so we went ahead and used this. Probably the best car for it, honestly, since everybody does have it. Now we're going to be doing the speed zone, and this is really the only car I had, so I went ahead and used it, and I did have to rewind there. But we did end up getting it, which is good. We only two-starred it, but... Next, we're going to be doing the drift zone, and just going to quickly retune this. I had already tuned it, but I didn't share it just because the amount of tuning I actually do to this is very minimal. But it is enough to get 75,000. We now have our Gunther works, and the reason I did all of the side projects first, because I want to use this for the trial. And we are tuning this rear-wheel drive with rally tires. And I actually cheated here. I already tuned this on my main account just to see what it would be good for. And it's got an amazing amount of grip. I'm definitely excited to be using this on the trial here. I really wanted to test it and see how it would do on the trial. Alrighty, and we are going to be going into this with a couple of my friends here.
Welcome to the trial. These events will put you up against some of the most skilled drivers at Horizon, so bring your best. You can only enter the trial with a full team, so sign up here to find a new team or bring your own convoy with you. Good luck!
And I would highly advise starting the trial with at least a couple of competent people. Just because it can get very, very bad if you don't. Now, it is fully possible to join a group with a bunch of good people, but specifically that Mustang right there, I don't know what he was doing, but he was definitely not helping us out at all. That was race number 1. And that Kasi was actually really good. I was surprised. Not sure what happened to him on this race. Probably got taken up by that Mustang, but he did really, really good on that first race. And that was probably one of the best case scenarios for a trial. Unless you get in with 5 of your friends, that's pretty much best case scenario there. Now we're going to be doing the Dirt Championship, and again, this is one of those, I definitely recommend doing this with friends, just because you only have to do 2 races if you get in with a convoy. If you go in by yourself, you've got to do all 3 races. that was the first race. And this race, the Dravitars were a nuisance. This is one of my least favorite races in the game, simply because it is all over the place. But we finished it off strong. And that is championship number 1. We're going to move directly into championship number 2. And I've heard a lot of reports about this. Now, something they're doing with the cross-country events, all of them are 1 lap if it's lapped. We did purposely fail and lose the second race when we did this on my main account, just to see. And the third race in this championship is in fact 1 lap, but for some reason, it gave it to us. I'm not sure why. And they started reversing off the line for no reason. They tend to do that on this race. I'm not sure why. Yeah, we were all set to go to the third race here, but it didn't make us. So I guess that's another reason to do it with friends, because sometimes it bugs. And the funny thing is here, we just barely won that second race too. These are definitely much better on dirt than they are on cross country, but we're gonna have to use them quite a bit. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do here, we're gonna do the Horizon Tour. And the only car I had I really wanted to use on this is something that is not the best stock. So we went in and adjusted it as quickly as we could here with the barely a minute that we had. Yeah, I was cutting it really close here. There we go. Could not have taken even a second longer. But I was pretty happy with it. I am going to go in and finish tuning it and share it, and the tune will be in the description below. Was really happy with the way this turned out. This thing looks so funny when it's sped up. I don't know what happened there. It just didn't want to turn. I didn't brake enough. And that was race number 2. I really should have gone straight there. Not entirely sure why I just brainlessly followed the driving line. That's alright though. The only reason we're speeding to this next event is so we can get a move on and get the event finished. And I left this part in because I thought that was funny. That guy was driving terribly the first and second race. And Mr. Obama Gaming there decided to take out some frustration by ramming the crap out of him. And that is our third race for a Horizon Tour completion. And I will be going in on the last day, which is Wednesday. I'll be sharing a guide on how to do all of the daily challenges. I've already got one, but that was a guide of me doing the daily challenges without them actually being available to do.
Hey Munchkin, I have drivers saying they want to avoid the stormy conditions this season, but I suspect they're just avoiding playlist races against you.
Now we're going to retune this real quick. It didn't feel the best whenever I used it for dirt racing. I felt like it needed just a little bit more downforce, so we went ahead and added some downforce, and quite a bit of downforce actually. Loosen it up a little bit since the Baja Scramble is really closer to a cross country. It is a very bumpy terrain, so we went ahead and loosened the suspension there a little bit.
This is Team King. Multiple kings with multiple crowns. So snatch crowns to score points for your team. Most points wins.
Now, one thing to always remember when you go into playground games, you always want to have a tune. There's not really any point into going into playground games without a tune. It's a lot more fun whenever you can actually compete. And for Team King, you always want to try to pass it to a teammate, but whenever you're slowed down, you can't really control when it's possible to do that, just because you're not very fast. Okay, so dodge, fly around, do your absolute best to avoid the other team. But if you can see an opportunity and there's not any of the other team around, you can slow down a little bit to let your teammates catch up. The best scenario there is for your teammates to drive in front of you and slow down a little bit. That way you can drive into them and push them and they can get going faster. That is the best, most easy way to do a handoff for the king. And the number one thing to remember, other than bringing a tune and having fun, is that you do not have to win. I have no idea what was going on with their teammates. They left us stranded 4 versus 6, and they spent a good 15 minutes of their lives wasted joining into a playground game session and leaving when all they had to do was finish to the end and lose, and they would have got completion. I don't understand it. Playground games themselves, Turn 10, and the developers have made it very well known that you can just stay and you can get completion. You don't have to win playground games to get the seasonal completion. So just stay to the end. If you lose, you lose. If you win, great. But the best thing to remember is to have fun. Alright, now we're going to do a Horizon Arcade. I think the drift is the easiest, even though I'm not the biggest fan of drifting. Before you go, please don't forget to drop a like on the video if it helped you out, and subscribe with notifications on if you want to see more content like this. I'm going to be doing guides like this every Thursday afternoon, my time. Should be coming out roughly 5 or 6 hours after season changes, after today. I'm also working on PR stunt guides for all the PR stunts in the game, and I do seasonal previews that come out just before the season changes over each week. That's basically me going through the playlist, giving you tunes, giving you options, and doing the PR stunts myself, just without the seasonal completion showing. And one key thing to remember whenever you're doing the drift score, even though there was a perfect circle right there, you could just continue to drift around that circle. It's super fun to do. One huge drift like that only counts as one drift. It does not keep recounting. You'll get a drift, a great drift, an awesome drift, and an ultimate drift, which counts as 4. But if you keep holding the same drift, it's only going to count for once, okay? So you definitely have to just do different drifts. Drift sideways to get ultimate drift and drift the other way to do another ultimate drift. That's the best method. Here's our fully complete playlist right here. And last week's, what we were able to do to get our 40 points. We have both seasonal rewards for week 1, both seasonal rewards for week 2, and we also have the series reward, the McLaren Extreme E. Hope this video helped you out, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.